Hello everybody, welcome back. On this episode, we're just going to make a few basic materials to set up the scene. So to create a material, it's super simple. All you have to do is, let's choose, we're going to make a wood material for this door just to start off with. So I'll just right click on here and say new, assign new material. And a little pop-up will come up. And there's lots of different options in here. We're going to stick with really basic material. And a really basic material is a Lambert. It's not going to give you anything shiny. It's going to be nice and flat and smooth. It's great for painting over because it just gives you kind of basic lighting. So click Lambert. And once you click that, it'll be added to the object. But the default Lambert is just a gray. And it's actually listed in this long list here of all these things you've done to your object. So you can see I did this poly extrude and all that stuff. So let's go all the way to the right. There's Lambert 2. Right here, we're going to click where the name is. We're going to call this wood. You could say door if you want a specific color for the door. We'll just say, yeah, we'll say wood door. Wood door. Now that's the title. Just going to double click here and that'll pop up a color window. And now we're just going to basically choose a color and just gonna slide this around. I want kind of a dark desaturated brown. So there we go. And if you wanted to assign all these other parts the same wood color, you could just right click, assign existing, and there's default Lambert, the Lambert 1, and then there's wood door. So another way you could handle this, you could say that you want everything in this scene to be a specific color. So there's Lambert 1. You can see I have it selected on the end of this list. And to pull this up, you can just click. It's I think it's right here. Up in this attribute panel, it's called Show Hide Attribute Editor. So we could set everything to a specific color. So if I wanted everything to be brown, well, I could just do that and say done. And now I could just go through and decide what I don't want to be brown. So that's one way to handle it. I could say like right click on here, new material. Let's see, assign new material. There we go. Lambert. And we'll say this will be our grass. If we wanted this to be grass, we haven't actually decided that yet. Say done. It's really quick. Title it grass. There we go. Now we can go through and maybe I'll choose all these stones. And I'll go new. Another Lambert. Type in stone. It's already gray. Maybe we want to do kind of a dark blue-gray stone or something like that. And when we have a bunch of this stuff set up, we could pull our scene over here, click in this window, just to make sure we render the right window, and hit the render button and just see what kind of colors we're getting with actual lighting. So you can see here's our lighting coming across here, and it's not too bad. It has pretty decent setup here. Another thing you can do, let's close that, move this out of the way again. So say we want this Lambert to have more information. So I'm gonna go over to this grass. And instead of just doing a color, let's click on the little checkerboard here. And that'll lead to another window. And we just want to add a file. We're going to add a texture to this. So I'm just going to click File. And that'll automatically, it zooms over this little file indicator, and you just click this little folder icon here. And then basically just find a texture. Like if I use that, it would be that texture. Let me actually move this over and find where my textures are really quick. They're kind of hidden, I believe. So I'll just take a second here. Let me find those. Probably should have had these ready to go before I did that. Okay, so here I've got. Okay, I found my texture folder. So we're gonna look through here and just kind of, these are just random textures that sometimes I use. Some are hand painted, some are, like here's a hand painted one. Maybe I'll just throw that on there. And you notice nothing happened yet, but if I click this, there we go. Now we've got that texture just spewed across this whole area. This is a little more advanced. I'm going to show something here. We're actually going to open up the UV editor right here. And So this is how this is UV'd. I don't want to go too in depth on UVing or anything, but I can show you really quickly if you want to actually move this around a little bit. So we could right click, go to shell, click that, and I actually want the texture to be smaller looking so it has more detail. So I'm actually going to scale this up. And the more I scale it up, the more it's going to duplicate across this. So I'm just scaling it up. I hit R, and I'm scaling and scaling. And I'm going to close that really quick. And now if you look at, I'm going to right click, go to object mode. Now if you look at it, it's just that same repeating pattern over and over the place. Since my texture doesn't actually properly repeat. So if I wanted, I could go back in here, open up, click on this button again, right click, go to shell. Oh yeah, I think I had faces selected or something. Go to shell. There we go. Zoom out. And I want to make it a little bit smaller so it repeats a little bit less. About there should do it. Okay, Q, right click. And I can just paint those seams out. Now if I do go over here, hold this over, and do a render again, or click on this seam, make sure we're rendering the right window. Hit render. Now you can see there's lots more texture and things like that. So you could do the same thing with the rocks and things like that too. I could go this rock material, click the checkerboard, hit file, choose a file. We're in here again. We're gonna look for, I think maybe like I have a stone texture or something I throw in here. So there's some stone textures. There's one. Let's just scroll through some of these random textures. This one could be kind of interesting. Let's throw that one on there. But you'll see this is where you're gonna start getting into UVs and stuff, and it can get kind of annoying. I could show you, there's a quick way to just, you can hit this automatic planar projection, and that'll kind of slap some default UVs on there for you. And I'll do that over this one as well. It's not, these aren't by any means well done UVs or anything. I think we might be able to do multiples. Let's see if we can do multiples at the same time. Yeah. Just grabbing all these stones. Just, you have to make sure you're in object mode if you're doing multiples. And just click that. But yeah, if you don't want to get too much into UVs, that's what you can do. So let's take this over here and let's render again just to see what kind of results we get with that. So that's a little bit too busy and stuff, but we could use that. It could be a decent jumping off point to start painting on. You could do the same thing where you could add wood. All these wood areas could have stuff like that in it as well. There's lots of different approaches you could take to creating materials. Sometimes I like just using straight materials. Sometimes I like using kind of what I did here. So we could go, if you want to edit the texture, click on it again, scroll over to where your material is. You'll see it says color and there's a little arrow here now. Click that and that'll jump you over to your texture file. So we could jump in here and maybe I'll find another, like this stone might be, well it says metal actually, but it kind of looks like stone. Could work for stone. There's a nice rock. Some previous textures I created. There's some basic stone here. Some different ground colors. It's another stone texture that could be cool. This one looks kind of nice. I like to use this one a lot. Let's try that one. And then let's try a render with this one on instead. I think there'll be it's a little less information, but I think that's a little bit better for a painted area. So I think that might be the one I actually go with. And let's see. We could go in here and maybe add some additional, maybe we'll make a new material for this. We're gonna do another Lambert. I'm gonna start with this basic brown color that I have here, but I'm gonna lower the saturation, make it a little darker. And we could name that too. Let's call it Wood Darker. Okay, so now another thing we want to do, I'm gonna actually make these, I'll use that darker wood to start with. So we're gonna existing material, go here, wood darker. Now we want to add like a metal material or something. So I'm gonna actually select all this and then deselect that. And I'm not gonna worry about the back too much. And we're gonna go new, new material. In here, let's try like maybe we could try a blend or something for a metal. That might be kind of cool. It has a little bit of a shine to it. See, it's a little bit of metal look. And let's go all the way over to the right. Blend, we're gonna call that metal. And the blend, if you look at it, has a few different properties to it. It has like specular, so like shine and things like that. So you could take some of these things and modify them to get a little bit less or more. You can see a kind of a preview there. That's probably enough to start. So I'm gonna go over here, go to these as well. So select it all, and then deselect this. Assign material, metal. Same with this. Metal. Grab this one back here, select it all, deselect that, and metal. Go to the bucket, move it out of the ground, and I'm gonna see how I click that. I think there's a way to expand. Yeah, so you can expand your selection. So I selected that one ring. And if I hold shift and hit the arrow, like not the arrow brackets, but the I don't know, they look like a little shape, like kind of like that. I'm not sure what they're called. It's like a little sideways V or something. And you just hit that left and right, you can expand your selection out. So I'm just gonna quickly go here, metal, expand that selection, and metal. Bring that up a little bit. Just notice that these are like sinking into the ground. Because remember, I had made my ground a while ago and I never edited it. This one's inside that other shield. That looks a little weird. And later we could paint over these, add some additional details and things like that. There's lots of stuff we could do. Maybe I'll duplicate this bucket and slide it over here. Have another extra bucket. Don't remember making such a large mound of dirt there. Let's actually go in and smooth that out a bit. Just push it down a little. This is kind of, I'm always sort of editing things as I go and just keep tweaking and tweaking. So now if we do a render here, let's do a quick render. There, we get a better result here. I kind of want the light to be even a little bit harsher. I wonder if I can edit that. Let's grab the light here, and we can probably, I wonder if we can, so we got sun shape, physical sky. Yeah, here we go. So I'm actually gonna take, and I'm gonna increase the saturation to 1.5. You saw it, here's a sun shape. I clicked over to physical sky. I'm gonna take the multiplier, put it to 5, and then render that and see how that looks. A little too bright, but that's, I think that's looking a little closer to what I actually want. So I'm gonna take that and put it to maybe 4 or 5. You notice I'm keeping the resolution really small while I'm doing these test renders. I don't want to take a long time rendering when I'm just trying to get the basic scene to look correct. You can see my metal's a little too shiny there too, so I could go in here, select the metal, scroll all the way over, and then let's see, tone down the specular color a little bit, and then hit render really quick and see how that looks. And it's still pretty bright, but I like that blue that's catching off the sky. That's pretty cool. I might actually put a few more shields and stuff. Maybe I should build some swords and things to kind of lay around the base of this as well. That might be kind of cool. But I'm happier with the color here significantly as far as the lighting's going. And then go back to my physical sun and sky. Look at some of the options we have here. Ground color. I wonder if there's any kind of way I can edit the shadow here. Probably I can, like a lot of times I'll just edit the rest of the stuff in Photoshop. And I'm also keeping an eye out for any weird tangents or anything like that. I haven't noticed any yet. I'm sure I'll notice some later though. Did notice this rock that wasn't colored, so I'm gonna click on stone. Kind of like all these shields laying around. I might double up on that. Just put a few more on here. That's pretty much how I set up a scene. From there, I will take the resolution and just crank it up once I have everything put in the scene, and just go start rendering out a full-size render, and that'll take significantly longer. Full-size render is going to take a long time, so it's not really worth showing that aspect of the tutorial. Pretty much all I do is just change the resolution now that I have the lighting, everything set up, and tweak from there. But perhaps I'll take this and take it to the next level and paint on top of it as well. That might be interesting. You can keep just testing your render, see how things are looking. I like to keep it really small. I remember it's only like 160 pixels to upwards and downwards or something like that. Height and width, I mean. But yeah, from here, perhaps I'll take this to the next level and show everyone kind of my process from here. I do want to tweak the lighting just a little bit more. We're going to go back to physical. You know, I think I actually like it better at 5. Render it again really quick. Yeah, it's a little too bright there, huh? I might do 2 renders. I like how it's looking here. That's another thing you do. You could do multiple renders and then put them together in Photoshop so you have different values for different areas. So maybe I'll just do a happy, put it back to 4. We'll put it to 4.8. Delete that. Do one more render. Okay, there we go. Might add a few more little details here and there, but for the most part, that's how I set my scene up. And I will see you in any future videos. Perhaps I'll do a series where I take this and paint it out and kind of show my process for that. A lot of times I like to do that on Twitch though. So check me out on Random Spirits on Twitch. If you like this series and videos, click like and leave a comment. If you really liked it, subscribe and turn notifications on for further updates. I'd love to hear from everyone. Just leave a comment below and let me know if it helped. And have a great day. Take care. Farewell.